Hello, beautiful people. Welcome if this is your first time here. Welcome if this is your first time here. Welcome back if you are a returning supporter. I am so sorry. I am so sorry that I am tardy. Please excuse my tardiness. I had to make sure that my mother was okay. She wanted to go to the store, so I had to make sure that was taken care of. Welcome to Nurturing Conversations. It is a video podcast where we talk about everything that people don't talk about. Tonight's conversation is Shattered Perspectives. One moment, let me get my disclaimers out of the way, and we're just going to hop right into the conversation because, again, I'm late. Uh, Number one, I do not tolerate disrespect in any way, shape, form, or fashion, mainly because we are surviving things that could have took us out. We survived our life, we survived diseases, everything in our life we've already survived. So if you cannot find it within yourself to share positivity or encouraging words or anything like that, do not come here. And I'm saying this because I don't tolerate disrespect. There will be curse words, there will be tears. Um, my opinions are my opinions. Your opinions are your opinions. This is a place where we can come to have a healthy conversation. And when I say healthy, I mean understand each other's perspectives and move from there. I am not a mental health professional. I am just one woman willing to share my personal experiences to let you know two things. One, you are not alone. And two, you can overcome anything that life throws at you. Let me see. I think that's all of my disclaimers. Yeah, I think that's all of my disclaimers. Tonight's topic is shattered perspectives. A lot of the topics that I pick up or that I present to you come from me, and they are many of them are things that I have experienced personally. So I feel like why who better to talk about it than somebody that's been through it. And I just be want to talk about real life situations, like real life things that people go through, but they don't feel like they have anybody to talk to about the things that they're going through. And a lot of times, what I realize is that people don't want to talk about the things that they're going through because they feel that other people are going to judge them or or look at them in a different perspective. Me personally, I could care less how you look at me. Um, I just know that I don't want to walk around with the traumas, the hurt, the baggage from my past. I'm trying to move into this next phase of my life happy, free, loved, and peace. I feel like at a certain point in your life where it's just like I've been bumping against a brick wall for so long, I think it's time for me to go another direction. If you are just tuning in, I'm currently actually when the pandemic first started, I embarked on a journey of healing and self discovery. Now, when I said that, I had no clue what that meant. I just knew, like I just said a few minutes ago, I just knew that I was tired of carrying around the baggage, the hurt. I was tired of carrying all of that around. And the only thing that I knew, of course, I've been to therapy. I've been in physical therapy, art therapy, vocal therapy. I've been to all kinds of therapy, sit on the couch therapy. I've been to all kinds of therapies. And the thing that I understand, that I've come to understand about myself is um, I hold on to things because of sentimental value. I'm a sentimental value kind of person. But I was holding on to those things because I was afraid of if I let those things go, what kind of person or how I would be in life. So 2 years ago, I embarked on a journey of healing and self discovery. Again, I can't even tell you. Like I knew like as I was going through the journey, I knew that I would be free I knew that I would feel love. Like I knew these things because it was like those are the things that I felt I was hindering myself in because of where I come from, my past. And this is what we're talking about, shattered perspectives. Um, so I began to process, go through the journey, and I realized that I had to start with my childhood. Now, um, I grew up in a family full of people that love to communicate. They love to ask you how your day was, week was, how are you feeling, what's going on with you. So that was always available. Conversations was always available to me. Um, there was an enormous amount of love. There was an enormous amount of respect. There was an enormous amount of things. Now you hear me say that. And then my mom took us to church. And that was the introduction to Jesus and religion, organized religion. And then my life actually changed from there. So, while most people who go to church look at church or religion in one perspective, I don't see church or religion the same way that maybe you see it. Because when I was growing up in church, while there was Jesus and there was the religious beliefs and there were all of those things, I was also being molested in the church. Now you're probably like, damn, she just came out the gate, because I want to tell you that my views of religion were shattered. Like it's completely. I don't see it the same way a normal person. I'm normal. I don't know. I'm gonna figure this out while I'm talking. I don't see religion. I don't see the church, the place of worship. I don't see it the same way you see it. Like some people see it like a refuge, a hospital, all of those different things. I don't see it like that. I see it as a cult. I see it as there's um, things that are allowed that wouldn't be allowed in a normal setting. Um, so when people talk about religion or people talk about just anything associated with organized religion, of course I have a different perspective, because while they were praising God and attending Sunday school and doing all of that, there was other things going on with me. So then I started to think about just how my life experiences, how I looked at things or my perspective when it came to things. And so then I began to look at marriage, because the person that was molesting me was married. I began to look at marriage differently. Like I've always been the type of person that never really like why would anybody get married? Like you could just live with somebody for as long as you want, long as y'all are happy. Like I mean, like I said it's crazy when you look back now, or you think back to the things you used to say. Like I always used to be like, why it does not make sense for me. This is me again. This is just my opinion. People have big extravagant weddings. They wait their whole life. They wait their whole life to find the perfect man, a perfect woman, whoever you marry. They wait their entire lives, right? And then they spend all this money on a dress. They spend all this money on food. They spend all this money for people that you know don't like you. You know they don't like you. You know they don't like you. You know some people that's going to come, they're going to come to spectate. You know, it's all these different things. This is how I looked at marriage. It's like, why would I pay for you to come sit at my table and eat? And I don't even like you. You don't like me. I don't like you. We don't even talk or none of those things. So that was my perspective. And then I got married. I got married. And then I was just like, you know what? It's going to be different, because we going to talk about everything. We going to be able to communicate. We just going to be different. If I have a bad day, I'm going to let you know I'm having a bad day. This is what it is. It's just going to be different. And if you've been following the channel, it turned out just like everything else. And when I look back at it now, um, I think I went in with rose colored glasses, because I felt like if we talked, if we communicated our feelings, if we talked about what we liked and didn't like, I felt like that will work. I felt like that would work. I felt like if at any time there was any kind of misunderstanding, like if we just talked about it, I real life think that talking could solve a lot of things. You might not believe that, but I real life believe it. That's why I have whole a whole podcast titled Nurturing Conversations, because I really feel like talking could solve a lot of things. It could help people gain understanding, because maybe you say something to somebody and you don't mean it in a like disrespectful or a mean way, but that's how they interpret it. You can clear up a lot of things can be cleared up by people just speaking to one another. So my views on life, when I think about it, like I have this whole view. I say maybe it is because I feel like my parents abandoned me when I was younger. That I talk to parents. I talk to parents. I talk to people who raise kids. I talk to just anybody that comes in contact with children. I talk to you. I tell you, like, hey, if a child comes to talk to you, right? If a child says, you know what, I want to share something with you, number one, they trust you. That's number one. Number two, they are comfortable with you and they feel like, hey, I can say anything to you and I don't have to, they're safe. They feel safe, right? Um, that's something that is missing in this dispensation or in this time right now. If you think about it, right, you sitting there right now, think about how many people in your life can you actually trust? How many people do you feel safe with? Like, and I'm not saying like, oh yeah, they got, the whole armor of God behind them. But like, how many people do you really feel safe with? Like, you can go out with someone and you know that regardless of what happened, this person is going to make sure that you are okay. I be telling people all the time, if a child comes and talk to you, or child, teenager, young adult, hell, if anybody come and talk to you, they trust you and they feel safe. Those are two things that we don't value. We don't value those things like we used to. Like when I was growing up, I appreciated the fact that the OGs or the older people would come and I could sit amongst them and tell them what I was thinking, or tell them um, how I was feeling. And then as I began to think about even the situation in which I um, had my innocence stolen, I real life told everybody. I was telling everybody. And when I say everybody, I meant young, old. I was telling everybody because in your mind, you think like somebody is going to do something. Nobody did. And so then when you get to that point, it's like you start internalizing the shit that is happening to you. So now you internalizing, maybe this is happening because the way I dress or the way I smell or how often I smile, or maybe it's just me. And so me internalizing all of those things, I began to do things to make, like, I began to wear baggier clothes. I used to do all kinds of things because in my mind it was like, if I do these things, you would stop doing what you're doing. But that was me looking through life in a shattered perspective, because there wasn't anything that I was doing that was causing the person to do that. It was all their thought process. It was all them. And I'm over here trying to protect myself. And then I realized that as I got older and things started to happen differently, I began to even sacrifice myself. In my mind, I thought that I was doing a great thing. Like, I was like, I don't want you to have to experience the things that I went through. I don't want you to have to deal with the things that I did. So I'm going to sacrifice myself so you can be okay. That was shattered. That was shattered thinking. I can't protect that person. No one protected me. So in my mind, I'm like, yeah, I'm protecting you. You gonna be okay. They not gonna get you. In reality, they was able to do, like, when it comes to people taking advantage of other people. When I was younger, I used to like just be quiet. Like, I was a quiet, didn't really say anything. I went to school, did all my work. I was quiet. And then when it first happened, I'm like, hey, I know this is not supposed to be happening because they have the birds and the bees talk, so this is not supposed to be happening. And so I'm telling people, but let me tell you what's the really crazy thing, right? I never told my grandmother and I never told my uncles what happened to me. Now, I didn't have to tell my grandmother because, she's a grandma. She, that intuition, that whatever it is, she's like, oh, we gonna get the people involved. And I was like, okay, cool. But in my mind, I was like, I'm hurting. I'm hurting. I'm trying to protect myself. I'm trying to protect my uncles because, if you in a family situation and people really love you, you don't want to say stuff to people because you don't want them, how people respond. You don't want to do that. You just want to be like, okay, I'm cool. Let me suck it up. I just gotta, this is just what I have to do in life. I have to just be like that. Like maybe you come from a family where you didn't have a father and it's like, I saw the people in the neighborhood and it's like, I just gotta, my pops wasn't there. So I just gotta find a male figure wherever I can and pull what I can and just do that. So for me, it was just like, let me let me try to protect myself. And everything that I thought in my mind was protecting me was actually causing me more harm. Sorry, I just needed a moment there. It was it was actually causing me more harm. And I didn't realize it at that time because I'm in protection mode. I'm like, yeah, I'm good. I had become so cold. And I don't mean like cold, like, yeah, fly. I was that too. But I mean, like, I had become so cold. Like, I had become so routine where it's like somebody meets you. I wasn't thinking like, oh, yeah, we're going to have a really good relationship or all of this. I was so detached. Like, I told somebody, I said, there's only one person. There's only one person in this world, only one, that I have ever felt safe when it came to engaging in sexual activities. One, one person. That doesn't mean that of course, I've had sex multiple times, but there is only one person that made me feel safe. And when I said that to them, they was like, "Wait, I don't what?" Because I know, and I was just like, for me, there's a part of me that was able to detach. So when people be like, "Oh, they so I can completely understand that because when things are happening to you, you're not trying to be there, right? You just can we just get this over with? Like, why? I learned how to detach real easy. I used to be in whole other locations, and then it was like when it was done, I could come back, and I just like, man, it was just weird. It was weird at that time, but now that I think about it, like that saved me. It saved me a lot of days. I'm sorry, I don't know what just happened, but now I feel hmm, I be thinking about these topics, and I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna be good because you on a journey of healing self discovery. So you talked. I've talked about these things. I don't know how many times, but sometimes it just mm, hit a little different. I guess the more you talk about it, I feel like for me, the more I talk, the better I feel. Um, it's releasing. It's like cleansing. It's like I'm emotional, like I want to cry, but at the same time, I'm happy because it's like, whew, I finally let that go. I finally like let it out from me. But a lot of the things that I realized, um, I thought were protection was just me. It was coping mechanisms. I learned that from therapy. It was coping mechanism. It was things that I would do to cope in that moment. Like I was real life broken. Broken. That's what I was. I was broken. I was a broken vessel and I was pouring new things in a broken thing. And I would always wonder why I didn't have enough. And when I say enough, I meant like why there wasn't enough love or there wasn't enough respect or there wasn't enough. Like, I just felt like at one point in time, I really felt like, is this what my life is going to be? Because if it is, I don't even want to fucking be here. Can you imagine like every time like like people are excited, people are excited to go to church or people are excited to be around certain people, like I would just be like, I it's a no for me. I don't want to go. I don't want to do. I just hmm I don't know how I hopped off the porch on this, but ooh. I guess it's meant. I guess it's time. That's another thing about the journey of healing and self discovery. Like you have this whole, like you do a vision board. You have this whole thing. Like you go, oh, this is how I'm going to heal it. This is what I'm going to do. I have come. I've come to understand that this journey of healing and self discovery, I just threw my hands up. And there I threw my hands up because I was trying to like, okay, I'm gonna deal with this. I'm gonna deal with this. I had a whole order, a whole list of how I was going to deal with it, and life was just like, no, we gonna when we feel like it, we gonna let you know what we gonna do, and it's in that moment like you can't like tense like I don't tense up. I just let it happen, and right now it's really happening. Like y'all seeing it happen in real time. Ooh, I don't know. Um, shattered perspectives. Shattered perspective. So my whole even the way that I viewed myself was shattered. I didn't think of myself as, I really didn't think of myself as a beautiful human being. I knew that I was fine. I knew all of those things. Like, like, yeah, I'm cute or whatever. Like, look at me. I know that I'm cute. But at that time, I just felt like the ugliest. I just felt ugly. I felt dirty. I just felt like unworthy. And because I felt like that, I actually started to carry myself like that. Like that's what I thought. That's what I felt. So every day I felt like that. And then, I kind of made it out of my teens and it was like, I want better for myself. I want better. I didn't know what better meant. I didn't know that. I went off to college and the things that I endured, growing up, it was just like in my family, this is different. This is a crazy thing, right? In my family, my everyday life, school, everything was cool. It was cool. I could live like that. It was cool. I had people that cared about me to ask me how I was doing, but it was the church part where, and then I would go to school, and then you grow up in church, and they say you shouldn't do this. It was a lot of you shouldn't do's and can't do, and we don't want you to do's, and so I'm in school and I'm playing basketball and I'm doing all like, okay, this is my time to be free. I'm doing all those things, but I still have reservations because I'm like, yeah, I don't know. And then like I'm meeting people and I'm talking to other people. I told someone a analogy, and I'll share this my analogy with you. I was like, imagine growing up in a community of thieves where, like, your great grandparents, like everybody in your lineage before you were thieves, and that's all they did was stole, right? And then you're a thief, and it's like, okay, let me go off to college. You go off to college, and then you start realizing that the way that you are living isn't right. Like, the way that you are living is bad, it's considered bad. Um, you are given the option to say, hey, you know what? You don't have to steal. You could ask, you could borrow, you could just let me know that you need it, or say, hey, this is what I need, or hey, can you get this for me? And somebody would get it. So now your whole outlook on life is different because you like, but I don't understand because everyone here steals. So now you on break from college, you go home and you're telling them all these great things that you done seen and you done experienced, and they're looking at you like, yeah, that's cool, but we've been doing this for I don't know how long, and now you're like conflicted because you're like, y'all my people and I love y'all and y'all show me like everything that I know y'all raised me up to be, but it's like I like this option better. I don't want to steal. I don't want to make people feel bad. That was my analogy that I used. I thought it was a really good analogy, but it's seeing life in a different from a different lens. Like you grew up in a family where your father wasn't there, or maybe your mother even wasn't there, or maybe you grew up in an environment where there was drugs or alcohol or domestic violence, or you grew up in that environment, and in your mind, like where you sitting there, you like, I'm never gonna put my hands on my husband or my wife, or I'm never gonna do drugs. You never. We all have had a never moment, right? And then as you get older, you started to notice that you are doing things that you said you never would do. You're in relationships and you know that you don't love these women, or you know that you don't love these men, but now it's because I don't want to be alone, or I need somebody to help me with my bills, or we get into situations or things where it's like, okay, um, I need you. I need you. I need you to help me pay these bills. I need you to be here with me. I can know you out there cheating, doing all kinds of shit, but this is what I used to hear when I was growing up. People would be like, I don't care what they doing out there, long as he come home to me. And in my mind, I used to be like, that don't make sense. That makes sense. As long as he come home to me, he could be out there doing whatever. But long as he come, in my mind, I was just like, you can't be serious about that, right? When I was growing up, I was driving here, thinking about shattered perspective. I was driving home from the grocery store with my mama, and I said, you know what? Every relationship outside of what happened to me when I was younger, people treated me with the utmost respect, and I never told them, like I never said what happened to me or anything, but they treated me with the utmost respect. Like thinking about it now, everyone that I've ever been in a relationship with, or even some situationships, because I had some of those too, they treated me with the utmost respect. And now that I can see clearly now that I'm older and I can look back and be like, dang, that was amazing. I needed at that time, I needed somebody, especially of the male like persuasion, I would say, to show respect, to show me love, to show me like care and all these other things, because all I had before that was that older guy taking advantage of me. That's all I had. Of course I had my uncles who like treated me like I was just like, so when they're like, they say fathers treat your daughters right or mothers treat your son right because then they will know how they're supposed to be treated. I wholeheartedly, my uncles, my uncles taught me, like when I say they taught me, they in real life set me down and was like, hey, listen, my one uncle was like, he was in the streets, so he was like, hey, if a person come to you and their fingernails dirty and they don't work as a mechanic or a landscaper, don't talk to them because I mean they're not clean. They don't wash their body. And he was like, if you look at a dude and his shoes is running over, and and the shoes run, I'm laughing at it now, but he was serious. When I say he was serious, like I was smiling and joking. He was like, no, 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 I'm telling you the real. He's like, if a dude really want to talk to you, he will come and approach you. You don't got to go and talk to him. He just ran the whole list of it down, and I was sitting here like I should have had a notebook because you gave me a lot of stuff to this day, the thing I remember is people fingernails. If you know me, I keep my fingernails clean all the time. I do take baths regularly or showers regularly, and I keep myself clean. But fingernails, yeah, I can't. I real life to this day have a consumption when I see somebody and they try to shake your hand, and especially because we in a global fucking pandemic and all these other different things. But it's like, I know you ain't no mechanic. You work on cars. You do landscaping. What you do? I don't have people tell me they hustle. Mm-hmm. Hustling. Hey. I don't knock the hustle, but what I do knock is not cleansing yourself, especially given that we are, the time we are living in. There's monkeypox. There's all kinds of stuff out here. You want to make sure that you clean. I mean, I do. Hand sanitizer, diaper wipes. I got some hand sanitizer over here somewhere. I keep them everywhere because it's a no. It's a no for me. I'm not with disease. I'm not with any of that. Have you seen the STD rates? Have you seen them? Like, given the fact that we are in a global fucking pandemic, given the fact that there are other diseases that have been released on the world, it's enough for me. Y'all see, I'm trying to segue because I was real. That touched me. I don't know why it touched me, but it touched me. My shattered perspective. When I was telling everybody what was going on and nobody did anything, that just made me not trust people. People I knew, like, I'm gonna tell you, like, people that was calling me their goddaughter and stuff, and I was like, I'm gonna tell you, and you gonna do something about it. When I was younger, this is what I was. I literally knew, like, I'm going to tell you, and you're going to do something about it, and it's going to stop because you love me. You have so much love for me. Every time you see me, you telling me how much you love me and what you're going to do with all of these things. I'm going to always protect you. I'm going to always look after you. And then when I tell you, you do nothing. So now I have a thing with trust. You say you're going to do something for me. Now that's funny because I was about to say now it's just like I would rather you, if I ask you a question, I would rather you say yes or no. I know it's like, oh, I want to but I can't, but I would rather you tell me yes or no, because for me to be like, oh yeah, I want to, like, your hopes is everything is getting high, like, yeah, you best possibly, but then if you say yes, I'm like, okay, cool, but if you say no, I'm be like, okay, cool, but if you get the in between, it's the in between for me. Hey, um, you wanna, and you be like, just tell me no. Just tell me no. Don't. I don't want you to feel bad. Listen. If you're listening, if you're watching this and you're listening to me, I want you to tell me yes or no. If you feel like it's gonna hurt my feelings, I would rather you hurt my feelings than to look me in my face and lie to me, cause that's gonna hurt worse. That hurts worse than looking me in my face and telling me the truth. Yeah, it's gonna hurt. But you ever been lied to? You ever knew the truth? You ever asked somebody and you knew the truth? And, and the funny part is they know that you know the truth, but they still look at you and lie. How do you look at people after that? You ever was like, oh yeah, we still cool. We still, it changes your perspective on things, right? The whole idea of you are my friend or you are my boo, or it changes a bit. My perspective on a lot of things were shattered. Religion definitely being one of them. I said, I grew up in church since I was 8. Since I was 8, I was attending church. But you want to know what changed my perspective? What, like, brought the shattered pieces together for me? A couple of a month or two ago, a couple of months ago, I went to church. Every time I have ever gone to church since I was like 8 years old, I've been anxious. I've been like, I have panic attacks every since I was 8 years old. A couple of months ago, for the first time in my 42 years of living, I went to church. I was not afraid. I didn't have a panic attack. I felt safe. Whew. I felt safe. And truthfully speaking, it was kind of scary because I had always, my entire life pretty much, I had always had those feelings. Um and so I was here. It was on the Sunday and I was talking about it and I was like processing it in the moment. So I wasn't like, I was emotional, but I didn't really think about it until like I started thinking about shattered perspectives. And I was just like, I can't vibe with organized religion. I can't, like, I just can't because it's not the same for me. Like, it's not the same. And then I thought about how safe I felt in that moment. And I thought, like, man, what? Imagine where I could be had I felt like you start going, you go there. Like, you imagine how, what my life would be like if I would have felt safe. And for a moment, I went down that journey and I was just like, man. But I was grateful in the moment because I had never felt safe in a church, Catholic church, as Episcopal church. I don't care what kind of church it was. I never felt safe, but I went and I felt safe. And the person who invited me, I had to text them and I told them, and I was like, that was the first time I ever felt safe in church. And of course, like they know me, so they know like what it was all about, and they were just asking me more questions, and it helped me process like that was literally the first time I ever felt safe in church. And so I like through the years, I've tried to tell people, my like my views and how I look at it and how I understand it, and some people when they be in something for so long, excuse me, is kind of difficult for them to see um other people's views. um it's kind of difficult. I'm not going to say I don't think people don't want to see life from other people's views. Like a person told me before, um someone else was like, hey, this person did this to me, and then it was like, they lying, this wouldn't happen, why would it happen? And then I'm just sitting here looking at them and I was like, how do you know that? How do you know it didn't happen to them? And then in my mind I'm just like, why do we do that to people, right? Like, why do we call people crazy, or why do we say things like that about people when we don't even know? Like, somebody could be like, oh, did you know Shell did this? And then people, instead of people who know, like, this is a situation happen. Like, people who know me will just be like, "Oh, they did. Oh, she did. Yeah, I could see that happening." But it's like, no, you know me. Like, people who know me know how I feel about church. They know, and I don't mean no disrespect to anybody that follow organized religion. It's just me. And I want you, because people, like, people there was this whole thing like, oh, she don't believe in God, or she an atheist, and all these different things, but no one ever came and asked me. No one ever came and asked me what I think or how I feel. And I'm trying to tell them, and they're just like, they can't see it because it's like, oh, you got to believe in God, and you got to do this, and you got to walk like this. And it's just like, see, you can't even understand me because you can't even understand me. You can't take off the glasses that you have on and at least like put on my, I don't have any lens, but at least try to see life through where I'm seeing it. The drink, I make a juice every week, and this week drink, as I'm processing my life and I'm talking about shattered perspectives and how things are, like, we people come from broken environments, people come from broken homes, broken situations, and we expect them to see life put together perfectly. That's what we expect. And so then when people, we know people come from broken situations. Let's not act like we don't know people come from broken situations. We expect them to be well put together. I was telling someone my grandmother wasn't married, my mother wasn't married. Like my auntie was married, but what I saw with her marriage, I knew that I didn't want anything like that to happen to me. Didn't want to be in that kind of thing. And so then when it was my turn, it was just like, oh yeah, I'm good. Well, I told her I'm gonna be good because I talk. I don't go through phones. I don't none of that. Let me tell you why. Um, because I feel like if I have to do all of that, that's too much energy I am expending. I could use that energy booed up watching a Netflix series or something. That's just me. We could use that energy to go on a cruise or take a road trip or something. I that's just me. I'm not into that. If I have to do that, I will politely say, "Hey, this isn't working for me. I think we should go our separate ways." As always, the really the funny thing for me is the last relationship I was in. I just said, "Hey, if at any point it ever gets to the point where you feel like you have to cheat or do anything, I would like the option of you saying, or I would like for you to come to me and be like, hey, this ain't working. I know that was like unrealistic. I know, but I had to make sure that they knew that that was an option. You could come and tell me. I might be hurt for a little while. It's gonna hurt for a little while. Then for it to happen the way that it did, and then it was like I'm processing through it, and I was telling y'all like, no, I'm not gonna date. I never not one time said I'm never gonna date again because look at me. I'm gonna date again. I'm gonna date. I'm be in a relationship now. I will say, at this present moment, I am not interested. I'm being mindful of the words that I'm using. I am not interested in being married again. I'm not. And that is because of, yes, my personal experiences and because marriage isn't, everyone wants to be married. Everybody wants to talk about marriage, had a big fancy wedding and everything, but no one really wants to talk about healing and coming together and understanding and becoming one or having that, like what it means to have that. Because everybody be like, oh yeah, we're gonna become one. But if you are broken and I am broken and we haven't taken the time to put ourselves together, we're just a broken marriage, shattered pieces. It's gonna be broken. For me, I feel like, I'm trying to work on myself, put myself together, heal from things, learn things, overcome things. Um, yeah, I'm changing my perspective. Every time someone sees me, they're like, you don't have lenses in your glasses. And I'm like, no, so I can see clearly. Yes, I have glasses that have lenses in them. I do. But I prefer to see. Like I prefer to feel people. Like I prefer to like when I we go about our everyday lives, like, right? And it's like we don't dwell on the fact that we are all only a paycheck away from homelessness. Whether you believe it or not, you like can go calculate your bills or whatever. Like I get it. So for me, when I go out and I see the people standing, I don't know if they stand on the islands like where you driving where you live, but when you get ready to turn or you pull up to a light, they're always standing right there and they have a sign. And I'm gonna tell you the people that I respect the most. I respect all of them, but I'm gonna tell you the people that I really respect the most. I respect the people who have the sign and it's like, hey, I need money for weed, or hey, I need money for this. And I respect them a lot more. Not a lot more. I have a high respect for them because, some people, I've watched people do this and it breaks my heart. God, I don't know if I just, it breaks my heart to see people like give to people and be like, Now and then they pray a prayer like, God, if they go smoke crack or they go do this, let their stomach bubble or let them throw up or all of that stuff. For me, it's like you don't even have to do that, because in my mind I'm thinking like, wait, you don't do that when you pay your tithes, you don't do that when you pay your we energies bill or your electric bill or your rent. You don't do none of that. You don't know what those people do with your money, but you give it because you want to have a place to stay, you want to have lights, you want to have internet. You do that. But why do you treat somebody you see on the street differently? You ever heard stories about young people or people that see somebody that's less fortunate to them, and then they don't join the group that's like ha ha he, like I just saw a story where a young man was at school, and um one of his classmates was getting made fun of because of his shoes. Now nobody asked like, "Hey, what's going on with him? How's his family life?" And he probably didn't want to tell, because you never know what people are going through. And so for me, he went and he asked his mother, could he get a pair of shoes? And she like, I just bought you a pair of shoes. But he's like, I need a pair of shoes because my classmates, and he told him about his situation, and his mother bought him the shoes and socks and some other stuff. And then I started to think, when I was growing up, like, people used to come to our house. Like, you probably had a house in the neighborhood that you can go get some food, that you can sleep, you felt safe. Um, you was good. You was gonna get a home cooked meal. They was gonna talk to you, take care of you. And I, as I'm processing stuff, and I was like, that used to be our house. I can remember how many. There was so many people came through our house, and to this day, I still call them my brother and sister, because I feel like if you grew up in the house with me, like, you're my brother and my sister. But to this very day, a lot of people have grown up to be like productive members of society that grew up in our house. And I didn't know. In my mind, I'm just thinking like, why is all these people coming in our house? And then, like, I had a day bed, so I had a separate bed. Like, my mom, like, really cared for people. My grandmother really cared for people. So in my mind, I don't care. Like, I cannot remember a time where my mother or my grandmother was ever angry. I'm pretty sure, like, they're humans, they got angry, but I've never seen them angry. I saw my mother get beastie one time, and I mean like beastie, and that was because we were sitting on the bus stop, and some man snatched our. She had was like she gonna buy us McDonald's, and we were sitting on the bus stop, and the man walked up and was like, "Hey, ma'am, do you have any money?" And she's like, "No, I just spent my last to get my kids something to eat." And the guy snatched the McDonald's. Like, my mom stood in front of us, and like, she was ready to go. She was on go. She was go. She was ready to go. She had her keys in her hand. She was on go. That was the only time I ever seen my mother like that ever. But in that instance, I felt safe. And you probably like, you was telling us that you were molested, like, in my mind. So I don't know if you've. I hope that you haven't, because I hope that you haven't. But there's this thing that people who prey on people do, that they're like convince you. They like tell you things over and over, and they like show you different things. Like, um this individual told me that my mother knew what was going on. And I'm like, no, there's no way my mother would ever. And so, he was saying do things, and like, the first and only time I ever got a whooping, right? This individual told my mother that I did something, and I looked at her and I said I didn't. And then she said, so you're calling him a liar? And I remembered what he said. She knew. And so I was like, oh, she's taking his side. And then she whooped me. And then from that moment, it was just like, yeah, I know I can't trust you anymore. Like, I'm good. It was just me from that moment forward. And then as I got older, I began to understand it was just a tactic that was used to, like, uh, corner me or get me to be like, okay, you all I have. And I'm talking about this right now because maybe someone who's listening to this, or maybe someone will come back, or maybe you are experiencing, or you have experienced, and you feel like, hey, I'm responsible for the shit that happened to me, but you wasn't. Maybe Maybe it wasn't the pastor of the church. Maybe it was your brother, your cousin, auntie, uncle, grandma, grandpa. Maybe it was that, and you have to see the person on a frequent basis. Like our real life, um, find peace and solace in talking about it. Now, in my 42 years of living, this is the most I have talked about it in the last 2 years. And I knew that going on a journey of healing and self discovery, I knew that one day, I didn't know what day or when or how, I knew that it would come up. And I said when it did, I don't want to like tense up and I don't want to be like, no, I'm not ready to deal with it yet because again, I am tired. I am tired of carrying that around. Like, yeah, it'll be with me forever. It'll be a part of my life forever. But you physically, like I'm talking to you right now, if you're physically carrying around the hurt, the pain, the misunderstanding, if you're carrying around the disgust, if you're carrying that around, I want to encourage you today to let it go. I want to encourage you to let it go. I know you're probably like, I don't know who I am without that. Let me tell you, right? I real life was like, I don't know who I am without um I'm a singer songwriter, right? So all of the music that I wrote before 30 was from pain and hurt and trauma and all of those things, and I was like, you know what? One day I would be in a place where I could write from love and peace and understanding, and I would be there one day. So if you somebody be like, oh, one day, listen, I'm gonna tell you, hold on to that one day. One day I would be in that space, and then I got broken up with whatever the situation. I got cheated on, and it was all over social media. And I sat down, and I'm like, this hurts. This hurts. Let me write a song. And I wrote a song and I shared it with you guys. I'm actually talking about it right now because I'm going to release it before this year's over with. I'll tell y'all more information about that later. But I wrote a song and I just literally was like, this is what I had hoped. This is was my intentions. And so then I'm asking you guys, like, what should I name this? I have no, at first it was ghosted. It was so many different names. And I was like, no, those names don't stick. And somebody on one of my lives is like, you should call it Intentions. So I'm releasing a track entitled Intentions. And I'm saying that because for a long time, I did not appreciate my voice. And you probably like, how does that correlate with shadow perspective? My voice for me didn't, when I was telling those people what was going on with me, it didn't seem like my voice mattered. It didn't seem like people were listening. It didn't seem like people actually cared what I had to say. So I would just turn it off. I would just not say anything. And I realized as I was growing up, shit would happen and they'd be like, oh, she did it or she said it. And because I'm not the type to, or I wasn't, I wasn't the type to be like, no, I didn't say that or whatever. I'd just be like, whatever. I was so detached from like caring. I real life told myself, I sat down, I was like, I'm not gonna care about nothing. I'm gonna just do what I need to do. I'm gonna put my head down, do what I need to do, because one day I'm gonna be out of this situation. When I went to college, I I studied, I did everything that I could do because that was my escape. When I tell y'all, like, I real life felt like I grew up in a cult. Like real life, that's what I felt like. And I was like every day trying to figure out a way that I could just get out of it. Like, and going to college was that thing for me because I could go and I could play basketball and I could travel and I could sing whatever I wanted to sing. I could literally like live, and I didn't have there was no rules, no regulations, there was nothing. It was just me. And I want to say freedom, but I wasn't free. I couldn't date because there was always this thing in the back of my head. Like, even when I was younger and I would try to date, this person would like do go to extreme measures to make sure like no one ever talked to me. And whew, I was not prepared for this one. I just wasn't able to see, like, people would talk to me and I wasn't able to see like what they saw. It was always obscure. Like, I always in the back of my mind was thinking like I couldn't get too happy. Like, I wouldn't be too happy because I was like, oh, I already know. Like, there were really nice people that came and tried to talk to me or wanted to talk to me or even took me out. And then I wouldn't, there was this one guy, right? Yes, I know I'm gay, but there was a guy that was back in the days. And he wanted to take me out, and we went out and we had it was fun. It was fun. It wasn't any of that, but it was fun. And then he was cool. Like, we talked often. It was cool. And then I wondered like what happened, like why, didn't. And then he was like, "Hey, do you know this person?" And I was like, "Yeah, but how do you know him?" He was like, "I don't know. He just called me and was like, hey, and because he was a preacher, he's like, hey, you shouldn't talk to this person or that person being me." And he like ran down a list of things, and I was just looking like, no, he didn't do that. And he said, yes, he did. Um, and he also told me that I just need to stay away from you. And I was just looking like, and so that kind of infuriated me a little bit. And so I went and I asked this person, and you know, when I asked this person that, they actually told me, yes, I did tell them that. And I'm going to tell every other person. I'm going to tell every other person that comes. And I laughed because I thought, like, I'm telling you, at that time, I just like, I laughed because I was like, you can't do that. Like, you can't, who are you that you could do that? But he was that person. He could do that because he did it like on so many different occasions. And then that's why I'm like, at some point, I just got to get out of this. I got to get away. I got to get out of it. And then I want to say one of my closest friends passed away. And that was the straw that broke the camel's back for me. It's like, I got to go. I gotta leave. I don't care how anyone feels or thinks. And then I'm gonna tell you, right? There was this thing that they would do. They, I'm gonna say they because I'm not gonna, put. But there's this thing that people would do, and they would say if someone left the church, they would talk about them. They would call them crazy and reprobated. They would do all these different things. So, like anybody else wanted to leave, it was like, oh no, because I don't want them. But me, when I made up in my mind, this is a pattern that I learned about myself. Once I make up in my mind that I am done, I am completely done, I am tired, I no longer want to move forward with something, from that moment, I am not, it's done. It's complete. Like the next moment, I'm already figuring out how I'm going to move out of it, move away from it, whatever. I'm already there. So one of my close friends passed away, and I was like, it's time. So I went and I had a conversation, and I was like, I'm no longer coming back here. I will never step foot in this place ever again. Um, that's it. I'm leaving here, and this is where I'm going, and I'm gonna be good. Right? I knew I was gonna be good because I wasn't gonna be there anymore. Like, there's no hard feelings. I'm grown. I'm over here. I left, there. I left this cult. I'm only telling you how I felt. I left this cult and I went to a church that loved me. And they loved on me. Like the pastor of the church loved on me. Like the members of the church loved on me. Like they didn't even know me, but they loved on me. And I felt comfortable, like around them. Like I didn't feel like they were going to do anything to me. And I know you probably like, nah, church. It was me. It's me. Is how I felt. And so I went there, and I began to have a clear understanding of humanity and how things work and how broken people who don't get help can break other people. It's like there's so many different things that I learned, but going to this place, right? Now, you would have thought that I would have been good there, right? I thought I was going to be good there too. And then that person called over to the place where I went and told them a bunch of things. Again, I say I'm a private person. I am a private person. I like to be the one to tell people about me or the things that I like to do that. If I'm no longer in a relationship, I want to be able to tell you that I'm no longer in a relationship. I don't want anybody else to tell you. I want to tell you because that's just me. So this person divulged all kinds of things that I didn't say or had no intentions of saying because I left that over there. And so now the thing that I left had followed me to my new place. And you remember, I don't know if y'all been here from the beginning, but all I wanted was somebody to stand up for me and just, hey, the buck stop here. It's not gonna happen. It ain't. And then the new pastor or the new congregation did that for me. They did that for me. Now I don't go to church. I don't go to church partly because of that, and we'll talk about it another day. But that was the actual church that a couple of months ago I told you that I went and I felt safe. I would go there. I would go there often, and I still, there was this thing, but 2 months ago, I walked in and I sat in the entire service, and I didn't feel anything but loved. And I felt like my one day had finally came. One day I'm going to go to church and I'm not going to feel scared. I'm not going to feel anything. And I'm just going to be able to enjoy the service and enjoy the music and everything it is. And then that one day happened 2 months ago. And I've just been processing what it feels like to actually go in a place that others see as refuge or hospital or a place of safety and don't have to feel afraid or be confident. Like, yeah, I'm gonna have a good time today. They always be like, you shouldn't leave the same way you came. And I never understood that. Like, but you gonna leave the same way you came. But 2 months ago, I had a clear understanding of what that meant. But I knew one day I would. I knew one day. And I said, when that day come, my whole life is gonna change, because that was stuck from 8 to like, I don't even, it's whatever. But that was the majority of my life. That was from 8 to adulthood. And that was all I knew. And that was a big part of it. Not having my parents was a big part of it. And then, being able to rekindle with my parents and going to therapy and understanding, like, I think the biggest thing for me was learning that it wasn't my fault. I was 8. Like, I'll tell you a really good thing about shattered perspectives, right? Um, when people talk about money, right? And was like, oh, I gotta get it. I gotta bust this move. I gotta do this. And money, money, money is all, is like the world is ran on money. And I get it. I completely understand it, right? The way other people see money, I could care less about it. I could care less. I remember being 8 with hundreds of dollars in my pocket. What am I supposed to do? I'm 8. What am I supposed to do with that? Every time I was being molested, I was being paid. And I have this thing, I'm sure one day. But I have this thing when it comes to money. Like, I'm not one of those people that's gonna move for money. I don't yeah. I don't look at money the same way maybe you look at money. I don't give a fuck about it. Don't even care. I know that that's still a part of my life that I have to heal, but hey, I'm on a journey of healing and self discovery, and I will get there. As long as I continue on this journey. I promised myself way in January 2020 that wherever this journey took me, I was going to allow it to take me, and it has not led me wrong so far. It has allowed me to fix broken pieces of me. So now I'm able to look at myself in the mirror and be like, damn, you fine. Damn, you so, look at you. I'm able to do that. I realize a lot of people, like even the people around me, a lot of people don't look at themselves in the mirror. They don't tell themselves that they are beautiful. And I'm not gonna say, oh, just because of everything you've been through in life, but maybe it is. Maybe you can't look at yourself in the mirror because you don't love yourself, because you don't feel like you're worthy of love. We are all worthy of love. Shit just happened in our life to shit just happened in our life to um shatter our perspective of that. How do you love something that's broken? How do you love something that's dirty? How do you love that? Easily, let me tell you. You put your arms around it. I say, love yourself. I don't know. Is there something that happens to me every time I do this? Like, of course, I'm hugging myself, but it's like, I didn't do that. Like, I didn't do that in the moments where I had no one to do that, in the moments where. And so, like, now I give it to myself. I give it to my nieces and nephews. I give it to my siblings. I give it to everybody around me. Like, I want you to know. I was talking to my younger brother the other day, and I was like, he's like, um, it's tough when you don't have somebody to talk to, or you feel like you're the only person going through something and you don't have anybody to talk to. And I was like, bro, I have a whole podcast where that's what I say in my introduction of my podcast. You are not alone. No, I'm not a guy, so I don't understand some of the things that guys go through, but I'm a woman, and a lot of our experiences are the same. We grew up in the same family. No, I don't have kids, but I've raised a bunch of kids. And I know people be like, you don't have no kids. You shouldn't be telling people how to raise kids. Listen, I done raised 40. My younger brother is 41. Or my brother right under me is 41. And I done raised a bunch of kids. A bunch of them. From 0 all the way on up. Doctor visit, all of that. I done did all of that. So if I never have a child, I can still tell you, hey, listen, I can tell you this. If you are a parent or you are someone that is raising a child, talk to your child. Don't talk at them, talk to them. Ask them how their day is going. Ask them. They might give you a little attitude at first because it'll be like, damn, why are you all of a sudden caring? But long as they know that you care, if any fucking thing happens to them, they will talk to you about it. If you haven't realized that we are in a digital age and everybody has a phone, every people Facebook and Instagram. They're so funny. I mean, they owned by the same person, but they will take you down for playing your own music, but they won't take these 13, 12, 11, 10-year olds who have Facebook profiles off. They won't keep them off of Snapchat. They won't keep them off of adult things. And I'm saying this because maybe you have a child that's not of age yet to be on these platforms, but they there. Not only are they there are predators there too. And I'm not even just going to talk about the digital space. In your home, there are predators there. In your family, there are predators there. And I know you're probably like, Shell, you can't say shit like that. Listen, I'm going to say it because you probably know, you probably experienced, you probably felt, and you probably like, I don't want to say that because I don't want to fuck up the family. The family is already fucked up. Shattered perspectives. We don't want to say our family is fucked up, but families do be fucked up. I began to think about my family and I was like, I didn't have any trouble with my family. They didn't try no shit with me. They was like really protective, really protective. And I came this close one day to telling my uncle. But you know what he said to me? He said, I respect you and I appreciate you for finding the courage to go to therapy. And I just looked at him and I was like, do you know why I went to therapy? He said, I don't ever have to know why you went to therapy, but I could tell whatever it is, it pushed you to go. And he began to talk to me and I began to listen to him. And it was just like, I don't know where I would be if I didn't have people who didn't even know what was going on with me, but cared enough to let me know, like, hey, you're better than that. So maybe you don't have anybody to say that to you. And I'll say, you are better than anything that has come to you. You are better than that. Maybe you in a relationship and you know that shit ain't right. You know it ain't right. We know shit ain't right. But it's like when my mother stay with my father, or my father stay with my mother, or my brother or sister, we look at other people around us and we like, well, if they didn't know, get your ass up out of that situation. If you waiting for the other person to change and you know in your heart of hearts, they not gonna fucking change, I'm going to tell you to fucking leave. I got y'all. I got you one better, right? There is this thing that parents say, right? They say, oh, I'm going to stick around for the kids. I'm going to do this for the kids. Now, let's just talk about that for a minute. I told you I don't got kids, but I'm going to tell you, I hear this all the time. We're going to stay together for the kids. Those damn kids don't know shit about y'all relationship. You only staying there because you don't have the courage to fucking leave. Your kids gonna be in that environment and they gonna start seeing the shit that's happening to you. It's happening to you. And then in some cases it's gonna start happening to the fucking kids. Get you and your kids up out of that situation. You want to make sure that your kids grow up with a perspective of you where it's like you're loving, you're kind, you're caring. You actually give a fuck what happens to them. You stand with that individual does not let them know that you actually care about what happens to them. That lets you know. This is why I say I feel like adults or parents are so fucking selfish. You stay with a motherfucker you know you don't even like, but they got that good woo wop or they helping you pay them fucking bills, so you just there. They beating your kids. They doing all kinds of shit to your kids, being mean to you. And you just like, well, he helping me pay the bills. And you might look at this like, damn, this is shit we see on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. We see this shit every fucking day. You got people in your fucking family that's either on the receiving end of this shit or they actually doing the shit to people. When will we have the courage to tell our people to I was telling somebody the other day, this is a shattered perspective, right? When I was growing up, I've never seen I didn't see older black people like just go at another black person, especially in the presence of like, you know, I never seen it. So I'm sitting over here and like I know like I in the music industry where I am, I'm in Wisconsin. So in the music industry, there's other black women that's like, you know, we're all here doing what we do. And so they try to put us against each other. And my first thing is I will never disrespect another black woman in the presence of you. Never. I won't even disrespect her in the presence of anybody, but I will never do it in the presence of you. They already think less of us. Already. I'm never going to let them see me do that to you. I know how to pick up the listen. I know how to pick up the phone and call you. I know how to find you wherever you are and come and talk to you. I know how to do that. That's me. I love to communicate on that level. If I ever have a problem with you or anybody anywhere, I will pick up the phone and call you and talk about it. It would never be on social media. Now the shit that was on social media was because it was already here and I just I'm not with that. That's not me no more. I'm not the person you once knew. I am not that person anymore. I don't do violence. I don't do none of that. But I will have a conversation with you. And while we're having a conversation, if I feel like it's not gonna go any further than that, I will say, well, I appreciate the time that we have spent together, and it's hey, no hard feelings. I love you. I will always love you, and we will go. But I feel like most people would be too afraid to say that. They'd be too afraid to put their foot down and be like, hey, I'm not tolerating this shit. I don't tolerate disrespect from anybody. Mother, father, brother, cousin, I don't care who you are. I don't tolerate disrespect because you know what? If they can get away with it one time, they'll just keep on doing it. You ever, if they get away, you ever been in a relationship and somebody say some disrespectful shit or they cheat or do something and you be like, oh, okay, I'm going to take you back and do this. And now in their mind, they thinking like, oh, I got away with it. No, the fuck you didn't. I'm just not that type of person. I'm not the type of person that be fight. I don't fight. Number one, I'm too pretty to do that. And number two, I'm not a fighter. I can, but that's not me. I would rather sit down and talk to you about it. And if that's not where you at this point in time, I'll give you all the space, time, and opportunity you need until you get to that one day. And then we'll talk about it one day. I feel like um, if more people had people that they could talk to, like not, and I can't tell you this because then you gonna go and tell so and so, or you gonna like when I be talking, I be telling you all kinds of shit. I don't care who you tell. Number one, because I told you, and you could do that. And then number two is because that has never been me. You can be like, oh man, she talking about shit. I don't even care. I would rather let that go than walk around feeling sad, depressed, hurt because I'm holding it in. I'm letting that shit go. I don't even care. Make fun of me all you want to. Guess what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna go in my room and on my Tempur-Pedic bed with my big fluffy down comforter and my fluffy pillows, and then I'm gonna throw my weighted blanket on top of that, and I'm gonna sleep like a fucking baby. And you know, people say sleep like a baby, but babies don't really be sleeping sometimes. Not these last couple of babies that they don't sleep. It's like, you know, that'd be like their night and days are confused. These babies just don't sleep. I don't know. I don't know. But I'm going to sleep. I'm going to still juice. Tomorrow I'm going to work out. I'm going to still live my life. Because you know what I realized? Let me tell you what I realized a long time ago. I cannot change the way that you think or you feel about me. I can't change that. There's nothing I could do about that. So you think that I'm going to lose sleep because of what you think or what you feel? If people would tell people that, like, there's no way you should be losing sleep. You can't change. I can't change that. I come here every day and talk about light, love, and positivity and share all kinds of shit with y'all. Resources, I share all kinds of shit with y'all. But if you feel like I'm somebody out here that's just scamming or doing all that. That's how you feel. I can't change that. All I could do every day is wake up in the morning. I'm going to wake up and give you a motivation Monday. I'm going to try before this night is over with to put all the rest of the videos for this week up. That's what I'm going to do. I'm here to share light, love, and positivity. I'm here to be that one person in your life to be like, hey, you know you could do better than that. You living beneath your means right now. You know, people be like, oh, you living above your means. No, you living beneath your means. You know you meant to be loved. You want somebody to love you. You want somebody to respect for you. You want somebody to care for you. You want somebody to recognize you, acknowledge you, see you. You don't feel that right now where you at. I was saying, I really love myself, but then I thought like I don't love myself because I would be dog tired. I would be so tired, right? And somebody called me, and now I'm thinking like, oh man, let me go do this. Today, I was like, my mom got a little situation going on. She like, oh, I'm gonna go to the grocery store. I'm thinking about my brothers, like they work, they got other stuff to do, and I was like, you know what? Let me go take you. We went to the grocery store at like 5 o'clock. We didn't end up leaving out of there like 6:45. No, I gotta be on live at 7. No, I know that. But I would rather come here and apologize to y'all. And I'm not saying it like this, but I would rather come and apologize to y'all than my mother be sitting at the house like, man, I can't get nobody to take me to the grocery store. She hungry. No, I'm gonna go take her to the grocery store. At least I know she'll be able to eat for the rest of this time. I know she good. After I end this podcast, I'm gonna go and help her put up her groceries that she brought from the grocery store. I realized that as I was getting older, like, like one day it'd be like, man, I'm gonna be a parent. Let me like heal the relationship that I have with my parents. And I'm not saying like, hey, if your parents did some fucked up shit, hey, at this point, either you gonna talk to them about it and like resolve it or forgive them or forgive yourself or whatever, or you just gonna move forward. But if you have any issue with your parents and you have kids and now you are like putting your kids in a situation where you dropping your kids off to your mom and them house, you don't got you ain't cleared up the shit from you. Like you only cycling that. It's only generational shit now. It's only generational. The thing I love that I watch with my mother is that shit we wanted her to do, like I was telling my younger brother this, because whether we believe it or not, parents do have favorites. They do. You probably a parent right now watching this like, I don't got no favorite. You do. You just ain't gonna say it out loud, but you know. So like me, I'm the oldest and I'm the only girl, and I have brothers. Like I have 3 brothers, right? Now when we were growing up, my mother worked. She worked. She was, if she wasn't at work, she was at church, and if she wasn't at church, she was at work. She worked. She provided for us. We always had a home. We had games. We had everything. Everything any child could have wanted at any time. We had that. But the thing that we were missing was our mother. We missed her. Like I would see her when it was, we would go to church or whatever. But from as long as I can remember up to like 15, I was predominantly with my grandmother. I was one of those kids who was predominantly raised by her grandmother. So like it was like she is like my sister mom. And I'm just saying that because like we grew in the same house. It's like I never even seen my grandmother like discipline her children. I don't even remember it. I don't remember her yelling at them. That's what I'm saying. I've never seen her like angry, which is so weird because it's like I know she probably done got angry one time. I don't know, but I don't remember it. I've never seen it. I've always seen her be loved. I always see her be understanding. That's what I saw. So then as I started to think about myself and how I operate and move in life, and it was just like, damn, I am exactly like my grandmother, exactly like my mother. And if I was to have children, they would probably be exactly like me. And I don't really think that's a bad thing. Some people like, I'll never be like my mother. I real life I real life appreciate my mother. You know, when you younger, you growing through shit, you don't really like, you just like, oh, they trying to control me, all this shit. But I never felt like that with my mother. Like, I always wondered why she did the things that she did. Like, I always wondered, like, why she sent all of her sons to Milwaukee public schools, but I got shipped out to chapter 220. I always wondered that. And then one day she was like, because I knew you were going to be, I named you I Shall for a reason. She's like, I could have named you Persephone because that was originally going to be my name, Persephone. But my mother was like, no, I have to name her I Shall. And then she gave me the story as to why she named me I Shall. And that, mm, it did something to me. Like it woke up something in me. Like it lit a flame in me. And it was like, ooh, I needed to hear that. I needed to know how I got my name. Like you ever notice like some people have names are named after somebody or they have the same name as somebody before them. Like you need to know your orders. Like how did you come there? And then it started making sense. So when I was younger and people would call me Shelly because you know people like to give you a nickname, a term of endearment. People would call me Shelly, and when I was like 18, 19, I was like, no, dead that. Call me I Shall. My name is I Shall. Do you know that I've been around people, some of these people for my entire life, and they never knew my real name? They just thought my name was Shelly because that's what everybody called me. I was like, no, my name is I Shall. That's my name. I shall be successful. I shall host one of the uh, livest karaoke's on YouTube right here. I shall host Nurturing Conversation podcast, which will inspire and encourage other people to have conversations about things that they feel uncomfortable, but by the end of the conversation, they will feel comfortable enough to talk further about it. Shattered perspectives. I'm sure I talked about a lot of shattered perspectives tonight. Some of them I know I did, and some of them this is it's a continuous conversation. A lot of the topics that I talk about for nurturing conversations is a continuous conversation. There's so much shit to talk about. Like, imagine a young man who didn't have his father growing up, but all he saw was the drug dealers or the pimps or, you know, the people in his house. And those are the men that he saw. And those men weren't like good men. But at his core, he wanted to be a good man. He wanted to. But all of the visions that he saw of men were that. So you want him to love you. He loves you. Or he has this, what he feels is love, but he knows that there is something more. He wants to give you more. Or imagine growing up as a woman in a household where your mother was in competition with you. It's a shattered perspective. You're not thinking that's your mother's competition because that's your mother, but your mother is looking at you because her boyfriend or her, you know, your stepdad or whoever they are kind of have taken an affection to you. It's like generational things. Maybe our parents didn't have loving parents, or maybe our parents was like, you know what, I have to give you this so that you'll know that one day you're gonna have a family. I'm gonna teach you how to wash, cook, clean, and you spent your time doing that, or you spent your time raising. Like we ever think about it, like we always like the oldest, you always have to raise the younger. And it's always like, I never asked to be here. Like I don't think I ever said that because I was like, we all that's a reality. We all know we never asked to be here, but we're here. I'm here. So the least you could do is make sure that I am safe. If you are a parent or someone raising children, young adults, teenagers, preteens, anybody, the least you could do is make sure that your home is safe and that they can trust you. Because when it's all said and done, that's all that matters. We all look for people that we can trust. I was watching the baby on Math Hoppa. I think that's it. Hoffa. I don't know. When I was watching the baby, and it was like he was saying how his father died and his brother died, and it was like, "Did you go to therapy?" He was like, "No, man, I can't talk to nobody that I don't know what it's like for your brother to die or for your father to die." And I was like, you know what? How often do we say? I hear people all the time be like, You a good one for going to therapy because I ain't gonna tell nobody about my business. And I just be looking like, hey, if at any time I felt something going on with my voice, I felt it going on. Guess what I'm in right now? Vocal therapy. Sure is. I sure do go to vocal therapy. I sure do. I need to any kind of therapy. And I feel like it's not like, oh, I'm just so excited to tell somebody about my life. No, it's like I need to find ways where I don't have to walk around with this baggage. I need to find ways where I don't have to strain my vocal cords. Or I need to find ways that I could actually learn to fucking talk again. That's a subject for a whole nother time. Like I literally stopped talking. I literally had they say it was a brain attack, but it was a nervous breakdown and a stroke at the same time. Like my body literally was like, "Hey, you not gonna deal with this shit? Hey, we gonna deal with it for you." And it is completely like I was trapped on the inside of me. I was trapped on the inside of me. And that's some really scary shit. So when I be talking to people and they be like, man, I ain't slept in days or I ain't did this and I look at them and I be like, hey. The last fucking thing you want to ever happen to you in your life, there's a lot of shit you could not want to happen to you. But the last fucking thing you want is for your body to shut itself down. And we won't be thinking about our bodies as like, okay, it's gonna shut. You ever ate something like you lactose intolerant, but you decided you was gonna go get some fucking ice cream, and your stomach was like, oh, you gonna eat this ice cream knowing that we lactose intolerant? You ever imagine that feeling, right? Imagine putting so much stuff in the back of your head like, oh, I'll deal with it later. Oh, the trauma of my childhood. Oh, I'm gonna deal with it later. Oh, now you're in relationships and the relationships are fucked up. Oh, I'm gonna deal with it later. And then one day, you keep getting these little headaches, or your arms keep you shaking, your eye keep twitching, and that's your body like, hey, we need you to deal with this. Hey, could you deal with this? And then one day it's just like it's a crash and burn. And I was telling my little brother this as a big sister, and I was just saying like, listen, I can't promise you. I can't even tell you how the fuck I made it back, but I can't tell you that you can make it back. I remember people like I had a series of like strokes. Like I didn't even know young people can have strokes. Yes, young people can have strokes. I did not know that. So I had a stroke one day and I lost um all the ability on my right side, right? And so my arm was all like, you ever seen somebody who had a stroke? Like their body is like, it's not balanced, it's not regular. And so I said to myself, like, I'm too young. This is what I said. I'm too young. I can't be dealing with shit like this. Whatever I got to do. And I started going to therapy and I started realizing, like, everything that you take out, you should let stuff go. But we don't let stuff go because people not telling us to let. People not telling us shit wasn't our fault. People not telling us that's not our responsibility. People not telling us, sorry, y'all know I was crying. My nose is really itchy. People not telling us that that's not your job. People not telling us that. So we taking on our burdens of our families like young men out here trying to hustle or do whatever they need to do because they don't want their mama to be out, or they don't want their mama, like that's not their job. Your father or that male figure was supposed to do that. Like that's their jobs. And then it's like parents are starting to look to their kids to make sure that their lives are okay. It's like no. I mean, I get it, but it's like, no, you should make sure I'm safe and make sure I'm protected. You should make sure that I have the resources. You should make sure that I have everything that I need, because life in and of itself, like this I say, is life outside of the doors where you live is already crazy. Imagine growing up in church where you hear and homosexuality is wrong, God don't like gays, and God gonna punish you, you gonna die and burn in the lake of fire, and then the entire time being gay. Now one time I was like, okay. Everybody was talking and doing all that stuff. Now all the shit was happening to me and I'm gay. I'm just looking at y'all. I'm looking at them people like, yeah, all right. God gonna burn me up for this, but not for this. Oh, that's so weird. Okay. You going through situations in your family and you're just like, man, well, this that's just how it is. That's just what it is. No, that's not fucking what it is. It's not. Sometimes we just don't like to uh rectify things in our fucking family because again, we don't want to have messed up family. We want to still have barbecues. We want to still have family gatherings, but at what expense? Look at it like this, right? If you don't say shit about the shit that's going on in your family, it's going to trickle down to your kids. Now think about it. Think about your kids experiencing the same shit that you experienced from the same fucking family. You don't want that, do you? I mean, you shouldn't want that. You shouldn't want your kids to go through the same experiences. That's what a lot of parents be like, man, I'm going to bust my ass. I'm going to work. I'm going to get. A lot of them are now saying, I'm going to become an entrepreneur because I want to show my child that they don't have to work for somebody else. Like you want to provide them with the things that you didn't have. I be wanting to provide my nieces and nephews with a safe space. They come and talk to me. Mateo called me earlier. We were at the grocery store. He called me to tell me that he was playing with. He had socks on a slippery floor, and he fell, and his teeth went through his lips. And he said, "See, TT, you see it?" And I was like, "Yeah." And he said, "Okay, I'm gonna call you back. I'm about to go play with my brother." And I just thought, like, he just called me to tell me. He took time out of his busy day to call and tell me that he hurt himself. And I was like, "Are you okay?" Like, I expressed concern and everything. And he was just like, "Oh, thank you, TT. I feel better now. Okay, me and my brothers are going to go play Fortnite or something," he said. And I was just like, "Oh, that's, oh." It's the little things like that. Just they know that you're going to be there. And I'm going to tell you like this, anybody that I love or feel any kind of affection for, I don't give a fuck what you're going through. I ain't gonna be hopping off the porch. I ain't gonna be doing none of that. But I tell you what I will do. I know how to call that. If you're in Wisconsin, I know how to call that 934-4444. That's the non-emergency number. But if it's an emergency, I know how to dial 911. That's what I know how to do. I'm not intervening in anything like that. I know how to call the people who get paid to do that. I know how to do that. And I will. I will always. I tell my nieces and nephews, I don't give a how old you get. I will always be here to make sure, as long as I'm alive, as long as I have breath in my body, I'm gonna always make sure that you are good. Always. If anything is going down, let me know, and I'm gonna stand right there. And I dare somebody. I dare you. I don't dare you because I'm not about violence. But if you, hey, they're kids, they're teenagers. Life is already gonna fucking be hard. Remember when I was growing up, I went to predominantly white schools, and I never was like, "Oh, somebody gonna come in here and do something." I never. They had so much protection up in there. It's never. But now you sending your little babies off to school, and you have to be concerned on if there's somebody gonna just feel like, "Oh, today is the day I just feel like I want to do something crazy." Gonna go up in a school. Hell, churches. Now you there's no churches, grocery stores, schools, uh post offices, shopping malls. Y'all remember that for a long period of time as people going to shopping malls, like what the fuck is going on with our world? That's because people are missing love and affection. People don't feel safe. A lot of the bullies, they don't feel safe at home, so they come to school and they just like letting off what they get at home. If we will start taking inventory of the people in our household or the people around us or the people in our family and be like, "Hey, are you okay? And if you are not okay, let's go." Like I told the people around me, "Hey, if you want to, we could go do a group therapy session." They have group therapy session. Hey, if you want to, we could go do a group therapy session. I'm with all of that. I'm not with people kind of, "Oh, I'm hurt, so I'm be out here hurting other people." No. At some point, your brain should be like, "Hey, what you doing is not right. You know what you doing ain't right. You in a full blown relationship with somebody, but you still out here entertaining other people. Either you let this person go, or you just go ahead and go on wherever you going." The idea of cheating to me is just like I still is it don't I don't even know. I can't comprehend it. I done tried multiple times. Just me, it just that's not my thing. Like if I don't want to be with you, I'm gonna let you know. Yeah, no, I'm good. I is That's just me. I wish more people were like that. I wish if you are unhappy, you'd be like, hey, I'm unhappy, and give that person the option to make you happy, or give that person the option to decide what they want to do. But don't just force somebody into a situationship, because now it's like, damn, that's fucked up. And then the crazy thing is, people be like, I love, I love, I love, I love. And then fucked up shit still be happening. Your parents, I love, I love, I love, but then they still allow fucked up shit to happen to you. I know it's the world we live in, but there's a lot of things that parents can control. There's a lot of things that we as adults can control, and we should start controlling that shit. Take accountability for our fucking actions. If you know that this person you in a relationship with don't mean you no good, they ain't no good, leave them. I think we need to start defining or telling people the definition of things. Doing the same thing, looking for a different result is insanity. You are insane. I'm not just calling you that because I want to call you that. That's the real life definition of insanity. You've been in a relationship for 5, 10, 15, 20, 1, 2, 3 years, and you already know. You know we get that thing on the inside of us. We know it's not going. We already know. But we be giving people the benefit of the doubt. Oh, they just going through hard times. Oh, they didn't have their mother. They didn't have their father. We give people all kinds of reasons why they can't be good. But then you ever notice, right? You break up with somebody and then they go right to the next one and they marry them. You ever had that? Or you ever saw that? Oh, I done seen a lot of that. People be with people and be dogging them out for decades, years, months, weeks, hours, and they get right with the next person. And then all of a sudden it's like the light bulb came on. I got to be a better person. I got to do this when it's like in reality, you know, the whole time. People be like, oh, people only going to let you do with them, do what you allow. And I be like, well, why don't people just be adults or be intelligent human beings and do the right thing? I talked about freedom this week, right? I have so many different videos, or even this entire year. It's like, do the right thing. Don't just do it because people watch it. Like, the thing I realize that I do not like, I'm gonna tell you what I don't like. I don't like when people like, we gonna go feed the homeless, and they got the cameras all in the people's face. Like, how does this make you feel? It's like, no, don't do that. I get you trying to do something nice. I get that. But like, don't be putting a camera all up in their faces. Like, some of them feel bad about the situation that they in. Now, some of them people be happy to be out there. They don't got no bills. They don't got none of that. They're happy to be out there. That's not everybody's story. Some people just ended up out there because of bad decisions or family situations or drugs, or we don't know what their situation is. But every time I see that, like, there's this channel on YouTube, and it shows the people. I think it's in Philadelphia, and there's like a street, there's like a whole block, I want to say, and it's like they drive down the block, and you see these people. They be high. I don't know what they be on, but they be high. They look like zombies. I think one of the shows was Zombieland, and I watched them because I was like, this is unreal. Like, you're seeing people and they like slump. When I say slump, they're like slump, and I'm watching this and I was like, this can't be real. And nobody's out there trying to help them. There's no, like, you see, like, here where I live, they have like drug, some, I don't know what you call them, but they're like people that go around and they have like um kits where it's like washcloths, like diaper wipes. It's like they have kids like, oh, if you're gonna be out here, let's make sure you have all these things. But these people just be riding around. You'll see there be nobody out there. Another one I watch is like Soft White Underbelly, and I be watching because I be wanting to know how. Like, I think about, I will forever be grateful for the people that was placed in my life, or the people that helped me through the shit that I got through, where I could sit here and talk to you today. I will forever be grateful for those people, because I know, like, most times when people are molested, they either like shun They don't be sexually active, or they just be intensified, or then they turn to drugs and alcohol. So I could be in a whole nother space, and I know that, and I will forever be grateful for the space that I sit in right now. Yes, I had some hardships, all that shit happened to me, but I'm grateful that I'm here in my right mind, and I'm here. I'm grateful for that. So I watch, and a lot of times when you watch these different people talk or intervention, if you ever watch these things, a lot of them talk about the traumas that they experienced in their childhood. And that's what kicks the thing in. It's like, okay, I'm going to escape. I told people, like, I would use alcohol to escape. I would. And then alcohol just wouldn't do it for me. And I was just like, well, I think it's time. I think it's time I actually stop running from the traumas and the shit of my past and just deal with it. And then once I found the courage to do that, I don't run from shit. Don't run from anything. And then that's not to be like, oh yeah, I'm the big tough. No, it's just like I don't run from shit. I'm not the type to like, oh, let me put this over here in the corner and then shit just starts stacking up because I did that before in my life. No, I'm gonna deal with this shit right here, right now. Because when I move past this, I'm gonna be moved past. It's just gonna be a chapter in the book of my life. That's what it is. So that's why when I'm talking, like, hey, if you feel like you are hurt and you feel like you are not in a place, or you're in a place where you need help and your family can't give it to you, the person that you're sleeping with or the person that you with can't give it to you, go get you some outside help. Don't give a fuck about, oh, I don't know if they've been through what I've been through. Because listen, at the end of the day, half of the people we talk to anyways ain't seen half of the shit, ain't dwelt in half of the shit, lived through half of the shit. Half of the people ain't haven't. They haven't had those experiences. A lot of people haven't had to figure out where their next meal was gonna come from, or so they had to steal from the store. A lot of people haven't have we don't have those stories. I have a story where my mother was either at work or at church. Maybe that's not your story. Maybe your mom was in the house, but she was married to a man that beat her all the time. Like, we don't know what other people's stories are. That's why we should be more considerate when we're talking to people. We should be, because we don't know what kind of environment they come from. That's why I have a whole podcast called Nurturing Conversations, because I want to talk to people. That's why I do on my YouTube. I learned that it takes 17 positive things to counteract one negative thing. You know how many times you scroll and you see negative shit, or you be on whatever platform you on, this negative shit all the time. I don't know if y'all Instagram set up like this. Like, I had to stop like changing the people that I follow, because it was like whenever they was like, for a long period of time, it was like blacks, and it was like killings and all of that, and it just pop up in videos. Even with this whole God bless the dead, rest in peace takeoff, like, it was every fucking where. I don't want to see that. I can't see that. Like, no. I'm the type of person, like, I real life be like, I see the people that be sitting on the islands. I real life, let me tell you how much I care. This, I'm gonna say how much I care. I literally, in my console, it's the armrest of my truck, I put waters, fruit snacks, chips. I put things in the console of my truck just in case. Excuse me. When I pull up, because I don't be having change. I don't have dollars. I don't carry cash. I only my cards. So I give them that. The excitement when you get, like, they be wanting money, but it's a lot of times they just be wanting food, something to drink or whatever. I say, you know what? I was going to buy cigarettes now. Let me just tell you, I was going to say, because a lot of times they just be like, do you have a cigarette? I was going to buy cigarettes. I'm telling you on the truth, like, I was, because it's like, they just need something. I can't give you a place to stay. One time I had a brand new blanket. My brother had brought me a brand new blanket. And I know he brought it for me, but it was like, it's cold outside. Here you go. My other brother was like, he used to be so mad. He's like, why do you keep giving him this? And then I said, one day, God forbid, one day, if I am ever in this situation, I want somebody to have compassion towards me. I don't want them to tell me to go get a job. I don't want them to tell me, oh, I hope that you don't do this. I want them to have compassion and be like, you know what? Here you go. I don't want you to have to. I don't want to have to pump your gas. I don't want to have to do. I want you to just look at me and just be like, "Damn, here you go." That's what I do. And every time I see them, I don't be like, "Oh, you need to go get a job." No, it's like, "Damn, I know what it feel like to be homeless." If you don't know what it feel like to be homeless, good. I don't ever want you to know what it feels like to be homeless. That's like a scary. That's a scary thing for me. That was scary. So I keep my bills paid and I do all of that because I don't want to be homeless again. And as I say that, I'm currently searching for a Sprinter van because my goal for 2023 is 2023. I'm not going to say 2024 because I'm going to say 2023. My goal is to have a Sprinter van and um, live a van life. That's my goal. That's a hell of a goal. Yeah, that's my goal. I mean, it's just me. I don't have any kids. I mean, I have nieces and nephews. It's just me. Well, I don't. I'm downsizing. I don't need this big old house. I got one, two, three, four, five, six, 7 rooms, 2 bedrooms. I don't need all this space. It's just me. I'm paying for space. I mean, of course, I have this nice studio, but it's like I could do that in my. I mean, yeah. So y'all might see me transition. Not might. Y'all will see me transition from this into van life. I really wish I could get an RV. I really do, but I like the way the Sprinter vans look. I like the way they look. That's more my speed. That or either a school bus. Have y'all seen the school buses? How they built them out? I know. I'm wrapping it up. That's why I'm talking about stuff like this. But yeah, that's my objective. What I really, 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 y'all see how serious it is. I put a lot of reallys. I really want to just travel the world, but we are currently in a global fucking pandemic, and there's still viruses out here. I just can't. I cannot. I can't. I want to go on a cruise, and I'm just thinking like, what do I do? How do I do that? I want to travel. That's what I want to do. That's what I want to do. And I figure if I have a van, I could still travel everywhere and still do, still be in my home. I don't know. It's a thought. It's something I would love to do. This has been Nurturing Conversations, Shattered Perspectives. I'm pretty sure I gave you a bunch of different perspectives. And I hope that I said something that encourage and inspire you to like change your perspective. If you are looking at a situation like one day this person is going to marry me, and I'm not saying that they won't, but I'm just saying if you are putting all of your eggs in that basket and it's like there's no forward emotion, like they're comfortable, you're comfortable, they're comfortable. I don't even want you to put marriage in that equation because I don't know if y'all be paying attention. Like people were making fun of the lady who said she spent $500 on her engagement. Like that's some shit that more people should start looking into. Cause like I still to this day right now, it's like I'm not about to pay no money for you to come in, cause that's basically all you doing is paying for people to come and be like, "Ooh, girl, bro, you look beautiful. Y'all look handsome. Look at that." And then they catch the bouquet that you pay for, and you never get back, and it's a whole bunch of stuff for me. That's what I got. This has been Nurturing Conversations, Shattered Perspective. I am working to like figure out how I'm going to do it. Um, I want to have a whole different space for it, so I'm working on that. I'm hoping top of the year everything will come together. It's coming together now, but it's not happening at a expeditious pace. It's slowly coming together. So I'm grateful for it because it didn't have to come together at all. Um, but thank you for tuning in to Nurturing Conversations. I have videos that I have already recorded. I just have to edit and upload. So you're going to get a bunch of them, I would say tonight, but I'll see. I'll see if I can get them out. But there are going to be a bunch of them coming. And then, it's another full week of videos. I have this thing I want to do. I'm saying I want to do it because I haven't been posting on my ASMR channel, but I want to do it. So we have One, two, 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks. 6 weeks left in this year. Oh, seven, including this week. So 7 weeks left in this year, and I have goals, hopes, dreams, and aspirations I would like to do. And this podcast is one of them. And I am going to do my best to make sure that it is better, better, better. Because I'm striving for better. Um, Remember that it is important for you to use your words. That is the only way that anyone will ever know what you are feeling and what you are thinking. I will never let a live video, vlog, short, or anything that I present to you go out without me telling you to love yourself. That includes your faults, fears, and failures. And I had to make sure that I include those in there because a lot of times we love ourselves when we're doing good or our relationship is good. We love ourselves. But when we having depressed times or we don't feel worthy or we don't feel like we make a mistake, we should love. Those are the times when you should really, really love yourself. Know yourself, trust yourself. That has been something that I've really come into the understanding of is trusting myself, trusting that I won't lead myself wrong, and trusting that everything that I need to be successful is already in me. So I just got to trust my abilities. Maybe, hmm, trust me, trust yourself. And for the love of humanity, just be yourself. Be authentically you, not who you feel that people will like. Just be you. If people don't like you for you being who you are, fuck them. I know that was a bold statement, but hey, fuck them. Because again, at the end of the day, you cannot change a person's thoughts or feelings. You could only go by what it is. And fuck them. I mean, make sure you get your toiletries, non-perishable food items, water disinfected. Set a little money to the side. Um, if you are out here and engaging in adult activities, and I say adult activities because you should be adult if you're doing them. Make sure you wrap it up because STDs are at an all-time high, and that confuses the fuck out of me because it's like it's a global pandemic, then it's monkeypox, there's all kinds of shit out here. You just not know, like you don't know. Anyways, that's all I got. I love y'all. Thank you for coming and hanging out. Thank you for tuning in. I hope to see you next time. Um, Stay tuned for the videos I got coming up, and that's all I got. Thank you. You know what time it is. If you don't know what time it is, I suggest you watch the Finger Sweetie because they will tell you. Until next time, I love you. Peace.